all I need is the sharing function, I guess, and then to use the chat if necessary.
Yes.
I think that's it, right?
Right.
Yeah. Easy.
I think Dr. Muthukumar has joined, I think.
Okay, I think everything is working, so maybe we're ready.
Magnus, a quick question. When I introduce you and I say that you would be talking about your perspectives and the role of leadership in driving innovation to scale with an innovation management based on ISO 56000 standards. I'm right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's perfect. So
Want to double check out.
yeah. As a matter of fact, I will talk about the innovation management system today, and then we will progress during the upcoming webinars to focus on other principles and other success factors. So I'll just pick up from there. I will talk a little bit about myself also initially. So
Sure.
yeah, you don't have to talk a lot. So that's perfect.
And I will just say that the next webinar is on the 10th of May. I'll just mention it's on the 10th of May. It's next month, second Wednesday.
Excellent.
And I will also mention that I'll keep they can chat with her any questions, or if they want to ask any Q&A, we'll have it after the presentation and stuff. Yeah, so good.
Perfect. So do you want us to type also in the chat box, maybe answers or comments, or wait for kind of the Q&A session after the presentations?
So you can keep engaged in the chat box. I think we can be more informal in nature, right? So,
yeah. Perfect.
If it's something relevant to that particular moment, yes, probably you can even talk about it. That's fine. Otherwise, anyway.
Yeah. Otherwise, we'll pick it up after the presentations.
Yes.
All right.
And you saw my proposal for next session theme.
I saw
dealing with uncertainties.
Yes. So I've just
added to discuss that.
Yeah, I just added that as the last slide.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Excellent.
Right, so we are good to go. I will just mute myself for a moment and then open up maybe 5 minutes before the meeting. All right, looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Dr. Muthu?
It's very well prepared.
Muthu is there? Muthuji?
Testing. Share my screen again. Right. Yes.
So in WebEx, I see that when somebody tries to share, automatically it moves to that person as a host. Looks like it. So.
All right. Okay.
Sir, Muthukumar, sir?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I think your camera is locked. I think there is
Yes,
something
I'm just
obstructing.
looking at it. Just give me a few minutes.
No problem. Thank
I
you.
will do that. Can you hear me and see me?
Yes, yes. Thank you.
Perfect.
Okay,
Thank you.
Sure.
I'll join in a few minutes from now.
Sure, sure. Thank you.
Lokesh, you are able to hear me well, right?
Yeah, perfect, perfect.
Excellent. Okay, please let me know when we can get started.
Yeah.
After
Can we wait for
everyone.
some couple of minutes?
Sure, just give me a heads up.
Start.
Sure. All right. Let's get started, Lokesh. Thank you. Good morning. Good afternoon, everyone. Namaste. Welcome to the CXO Forum, Systematic Innovation Management web series. So we'll get started. So my name is Shrikant. I'm a principal of systematic and strategic innovation at InnoMantra. I would like to welcome you all to this webinar series on innovation. Today is a special day as we start the series, this CXO Forum on Systematic Innovation Management. This webinar series is a joint initiative of InnoMantra and Amplify to introduce and share various aspects of innovation. This forum is designed to bring together leading minds from industry, academia, government agencies globally to strengthen innovation methods and reinvent organizations for growth and sustainability. This series will introduce and provide a roadmap based on 8 innovation management principles outlined in the recently established series of international standards, ISO 46000. During the past 15 years, innovation management experts from 50 countries have codified the principles of successful innovation initiatives. The result is a comprehensive framework for a systematic innovation management aligned with the ISO's management system structures, which are adaptable to any organization's innovation needs and requirements. This forum will also explore a common understanding of the best practices for innovation management, aligning with the ISO standards for, again, innovation management system. This is an opportunity to interact with leading practitioners and develop actionable insights to drive the innovation process. The community support for this webinar series is provided by the Indian Society for Quality on the theme Enabling Innovation Success Over and Over Again. This series will bring out the ISO's principles to help assess where you stand as an organization in the process of innovation, and thus plan for internal projects to grow within your organization. The 8 principles based on the ISO 56000 standards will help you explore the critical elements of innovation. Today's agenda will include 2 eminent speakers, Dr. N. Muthukumar and Mr. Magnus Carlson. We will also plan for a short Q&A session at the end of the webinar, but please do post your questions on the chat window. Before we get started, I would like to introduce InnoMantra and Amplify organizations and the key people behind these initiatives. Starting with InnoMantra, InnoMantra is a leading digital innovation and intellectual property management consulting and services firm headquartered in Bengaluru in India. It works with various organizations to design and achieve their digital strategy from idea to implementation. Its signature threefold approach to innovation that looks at overall business strategy, people, and functional systems in a digital ecosystem is globally recognized. InnoMantra has a wide range of clients, from small to medium to Fortune global organizations. I would like to invite Mr. Lokesh Venkataswamy, the founder of InnoMantra, to speak a few words about the organization.
Thank you, Shrikantji. First of all, I welcome all of you for this amazing interaction on innovation management, systematic innovation management. InnoMantra, we started in 2010 with an intention to help companies how systematically you can approach innovation. So we are based in Bangalore, and we have been working with more than 100 plus companies in the past, and then helping them to really build a culture of innovation. So InnoMantra's signature functional innovation approach is very well recognized, and then now we also upgraded with how we can really bring human intelligence with artificial intelligence. So that is really making waves. And then our article, which is published, which will get published in the Harvard Business Review, like in the month of June and I mean, it's July and August, we can see a print article coming in. It'll be a cover article possibly, right? So with this, actually, I don't need to give much of detailing. I think we'll be very happy to have a more and more interactive session. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lokesh. Moving on to Amplify. Amplify is a leading consulting and training company headquartered in Stockholm, Sweden. Amplify is rooted in a strong Scandinavian innovation culture where innovation is practiced and researched at the forefront. Amplify has worked with multinational clients and contributed to innovation efforts all over the world for the past 2 decades. This hands-on experience from innovation projects has contributed to gain deep knowledge and to come up with strategic perspectives for innovation. From Amplify, I would like to invite Mr. Gunnar Starfelt, CEO and co-founder, to speak a few words. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sri, for that introduction. Yes, at Amplify, we have a grand vision, a vision that everyone has the ability to renew themselves, their organizations, and their societies. And the way that we can contribute with our colleagues like InnoMantra all over the world is to boost innovation performance by professionalizing innovation management, which in essence means managing innovation activities systematically at all levels, at the strategic level, at the tactical level, and the operational level, just as you manage any other mission critical activity in your organization. And we provide services within 3 areas. Immediate impact means creating radical new offerings through professional execution of innovation initiatives, so supporting organizations in actually renewing themselves. And if you want to have that capability within your organization and sustain an innovation performance, we help to establish a systems approach, which we'll talk much more about in this session. And as part of establishing that systems approach is also building a professional competence, so developing the professional innovation management competence based on the job to be done. And we have spent quite a lot of time on this the past 20 years on an international basis. We've been involved in hundreds and hundreds of innovation initiatives and projects, and we've met with thousands of leaders and innovation management professionals, which is a growing profession, by the way, on a global basis. And we have clients in basically every sector, private, public. These are just a few to demonstrate that the need for a professional approach to innovation management is universal. It stretches across different types of industries and sectors, everything from pharmaceutical to telecom, heavy industry, food, and even to destination and the travel industry. And it has been a pleasure to be involved in many different types of renewal efforts across the globe over the past 20 years. So enough about Amplify, and back to you, Sri.
Thank you, Gunnar. All right, so now we move to the first talk of the day. I would like to invite Dr. N. Muthukumar. He's a very interesting individual. His academic accomplishments include degrees in chemistry, applied sciences, MBA, and a PhD in business administration, management, and operations. He brings more than 3 decades of experience from the automotive industry. He's currently the president and chief operating officer at Meritor, and he's a past president of the CII in Karnataka. I would like to invite Dr. N. Muthukumar to present his views on the innovation leadership challenges in the automotive and manufacturing industry. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Shrikant, for the introduction. Thanks, InnoMantra and Amplify team for setting an opportunity to have this quick discussion, because I believe that this is the topic of the day. Ladies and gentlemen, in next 15 minutes, I'm going to talk to you about the opportunity that's available in India. Of course, every opportunity comes with the challenges and what type of challenges it's going to be in automobile and manufacturing sectors in India. And I'm sure that every opportunity has a solution. And we will be able to find out a solution of how to make India on top of the globe in terms of its a journey towards uh, uh, a developed country by 2047 as the Prime Minister of India vision. Um, India is at the sweet spot today, starting the globalization in 1990s, and the way in which the India has matured itself to come up to a reliable partner for the globe is in the best opportunity situation today. If you start looking at, I don't think we have a next better opportunity that's going to come now, and the country is aspiring to be a 5 trillion economy by 2027. We are looking at about 10 trillion economy by 2032, and we want to be a superpower in 2047. When I say superpower, it's not that we want to be a superpower in army or our powers to destruction, but creating a positive environment for the across the globe. Like what our Prime Minister says, Vasudeva Kudambam, that's the entire globe, how to make it peace and how to make the globe with much more a reliable relationship between most of the partners. The manufacturing industry, the GDP of manufacturing industries in India and specifically automobiles is one of the leading, is about 18-19% for last couple of decades. And while India is aspiring to become 25% of GDP should come from manufacturing industry, a lot more challenges are putting a concern on growing this. While we have an aspiration to grow in the service sector, in agricultural sector, but obviously for a good mix for getting employability of the people, improve the status of living of the people, we need to have a good balance between manufacturing, service, and agricultural sector. So the aspiration of reaching 25% is on the cards. With Make in India launched in the 2014 by the current government and the Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and with a lot of initiative that is taken in terms of the skill development, in terms of cultural development, in terms of digitalization in the country is set to on a right trajectory now to get this aspiration of 25% of manufacturing GDP by 2032. While we continue to become a 3 trillion economy to 5 trillion economy to 10 trillion economy, at the same time, the contribution of manufacturing GDP has to come. It's a very, very good initiative that the government of various states is also aspiring to be a 1 trillion economy, like states of Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra, and everybody wants to have a positive competition within India, which makes sure that we have an aspiration. One side, the business has an opportunities available. On the other side, if you look at for India, India is at again another advantageous position of a diversity. We have a very good amount of young guys less than 35 available. 45% of our population is less than 35. So when you have such a young team, their aspirations is very, very high. They want to achieve everything at the day one. And when they want to achieve, it is a responsibility of us to give a platform for them to what they want to achieve, whether it could be in terms of a materialistic or in terms of a satisfaction index for and health index for every individual. Well, these things are there. Let's look back at what's happening in India, why India is not last 2 decades, we are not able to migrate into a manufacturing GDP of 25%. One of the biggest challenges for India is we have individual packets of excellence in India at various things, and we have one of the best manufacturing industry, one of the best defense industry in everything we have available. The innovation is at the peak in India. I want you to take it back 1,000 years before when Cholas ruled the country. Not only within India, they moved up to the far east and of course west. Look at what they have done. They have created more than 26,000 lakes in southern part of India and made it as a rice belt for agriculture. They created so much of trees. They created an electoral system to make sure that there is a village panchayat leader available everywhere. Many, many innovations has come long back in India. And Indians is always good, and we call it as a jugad or innovation. I don't want to get into that because we are talking globally, but there are few packets of excellence always available in India. But the biggest challenge for us is how do we make our average person to perform extraordinarily well? That is where the systematic implementation of innovation comes into the picture. You can't have one company doing excellence and better. You can't have few individuals in an organization working on innovation and excellence. You need to make sure that every part of the people that is in the supply chain, in the value chain, creates innovation mindset, thereby making the organization proud, thereby making the region what they belong to proud, thereby making the country proud. So this is the biggest leadership challenge today. For any business that you wanted to do, there are three fundamental focus areas. Focus on customer. If any organization, the top to bottom, if they focus on customer, the business, take it for granted from me, the business will continue to grow. If you start focusing on your customer, your business grows. The second thing is, if you start focusing on innovation, fundamentally questioning know why and know how and know what. If you are doing this, the business continuously grow. Innovation keeps breeding in the system, and there is an excellent environment and ambient that's available for more and more of what next, what more, what else. This is what's going to be the mantra in every organization. The third is the people. The only differentiator between you and your competitor is the people. If there are any organization that continues to start focusing on the people in terms of the talent development, in terms of the headroom, in terms of the leg room, if you're available to them, I'm sure that those people can do much more better and then what we are doing today. So any organization that we need to focus on customer, focus on innovation, focus on people. This is the mantra for a successful for an organization in the country. While focus on customer, we can talk for the day. Focus on people, we can go and talk about what type of challenges we have, what type of gender diversity we are bringing in, what type of regional diversity we are bringing in for creating an ecosystem for making this good. Let's talk about innovation for a while on what type of challenges the leadership is facing today. One of the fundamentals of innovations is when people talk about innovation, people talk, I know Lokesh used to talk, it's about 10x, 30x improvement that's going to happen, or sometimes 100x improvement. Immediately people will think, oh, it's going to be a huge, expensive project, so we cannot do that. The mindset is not that. Sometimes it comes at no cost, but just for the commitment of the people. I think that is the fundamental mindset break that you need to give it to the people, that innovation is not an expensive platform today. Innovation is just changing the mindset of how you do the things, thereby get into the improvement.
I want to actually know that.
I'm sorry. Am I audible? Okay.
Please go.
Okay. The second thing is on in terms of the cost. Yes, we can do. The second thing is in the timeline of the project. Every leadership, whenever they want to do an innovation, and when somebody comes and tells us, "Hey, we can grow by 30x," oh, they will calculate for the profitability index from the very next quarter and saying that, "Hey, am I going to touch the EBITDA levels of the new EBITDA level that is going to come from the very next quarter?" For everything, there is a maturity level. So we have to have a mindset change in the leadership lesson, in the operating team, everywhere this has to happen. Any process that is done at a faster rate will have its fall also in the faster rate. Anything slow and steady is going to make a sustainable improvement. When we are doing an innovation, we need to make sure that the sustainability efforts, what we are bringing in, is going to be very, very efficient. We have to go up, stay, we have to go up and stay. And that is what is going to make the biggest challenges. I just wanted to touch upon three things on innovation. I know when you create a systematic way of making an innovation in an organization, first, when we said the organization is going to be focused on the customer, they understand what is the problem very well. When the people know what is the problem very well, there are three fundamental questions that is being asked by the leadership team or asked by the team. Yes, you have any question? I saw a hand.
No,
Srikanth?
sorry. No, please go ahead. No, sorry.
Okay. There are three things that comes into the minds of the team. We have to understand, know why on any problem that we have before. It is very, very important for the leadership to create a need for an innovation. If innovation, I want innovation because some companies is doing, the Fortune 100 companies are doing innovation, it's not going to come. The leader has to create a need in the organization to make sure that the people believe that, yes, for our organization, we need to create a need in the employee's mind. We need to create a need in the people's mind. And that makes that will be the driver, that will be the key driver for the organization to keep moving on. When you want to create such a driver, the fundamentals of the three basic fundamentals, what I have seen in our organization, a meritor or comment meritor, is people have to understand, know why. When you are doing something, when you are getting into a problem, we should not know why. The root cause of the problems, what you have today, people should understand very well. If they don't understand the problem and just giving a solution, it will be a stopgap arrangement. It will not be an innovative solution. The second thing is people should know how. how do we come out of this? Because brilliant people, when they come together, once they know the root cause properly, people will be able to find out how to the solution. That is the best thing in the people. While when the leadership is about asking the direction of the question, if you are directing your mind to a positive solution, you are going to get a better solution. So, and know why and know how. These are the fundamentals that we look at the business of making sure that how people understand what is the root cause of the problem. At the same time, how do we resolve this problem? Then, of course, know what to do is obviously once the people know that how to do, then what to do, when to do, where to do is all going to be a sequence of events in an organization. The biggest advantage that what we are seeing in India post 2010 is before 2010 we used to have a packets of excellence in the companies. One company will be doing because of a few good leaders. But today what is happening is the systematic improvement of innovation. When you give a tool for the people to how to implement and do the innovation, the packets of excellence is changing into excellence culture across the Indian organization. And that is what making India to improve its exports. That is what India is making a perception globally that we are producing a reliable partner, we are a reliable solution provider, and of course, we are a company, we are the group of companies from India, which is a trusted partner who can take their country to the next level. And then that is what the challenge is today for the leadership making the people to believe that yes, India can do this and at a cost which can be a competitive cost for them and of course a sustainable solution. Today, in terms of making a short-term innovation, we can't compromise on our sustainability. The way in which we got the Mother Earth from our ancestors, we have to give it back to the next generation. So most of the innovative principles that when we do, we need to see that how the conserving the natural resources, how good it can be minimized. At the same time, best of the talent. There used to be a talent. If iron is kept without use, it'll get rusted. But whereas human mind, the more and more you use it, it produces much more than. That is one of the best. The human mind is one. Whatever the amount of you're going to use it, it's not going. We are not going to get an end of the day where there is nothing can be there. The biggest advantage with the human mind is the more and more you use, it exponentially performs over a period of time, and that is where the leadership has to use the people in such a way that create the need for the innovation, create the need for the sustainability, and make sure that people exponentially perform. An average person performing extraordinarily well, and that is going to be the mantra for the innovation, and that too innovation with the systematic way we are doing. Ladies and gentlemen, we can
Thank
go
you.
on talk about what is the need for the innovation. If you want your company to become a world-class company, there is no other option to make your people to perform. And if you want to make your people perform, you will not be able to get the best of the talent in the organization by recruiting. You have to breed a culture of the best of the talent by developing internally, which will make you competitive. And if you want to do that, changing the culture of the people to make sure that they are confident, they are customer focused, they are innovative focused, and they care and respect people. I think if you bring in such a culture in an organization by developing people, you are an organization, you will stand out by making sure that you make your average person to perform extraordinarily well. And in this process, you're not recruiting the cream from the college or cream from the industry, but you are making your people to be a cream in the society. And that is the advantage that we are going to bring into a country like India, which will be definitely making inroads into the various parts of the world. I think, ladies and gentlemen, that is what is the changes that is needed in India in the leadership today. The leadership has to wait and watch and make sure that they create a sustained culture for winning the business globally and not for running into the profitability today. Profitability should be a byproduct, but the leadership should work on a process of installing these systems into the company. We call it as an ABC in our business. The fundamentals of creating a positive attitude, whether it is for innovation or focusing on customer or focusing on people, a positive attitude of the people, a group of people who believe and who demonstrate the similar positive attitude again and again, creating a behavior in your company to make sure that always my people are focused on customer, always my people are focused on innovation, always my people are focused on um, um, always my people focus on respecting the people and taking it up. If you create a collective behavior of the people, and that is going to be a culture of the organization, ABC, a collective attitude, a cumulative behavior, and taking the culture of the organization to make sure that you stand look on as an innovative culture, and that is what is going to make it. And those type of cultural changes can be brought in by an organization by bringing in systems and process, a systematic way of innovation. Innovation done by few intelligent individuals will bring in millions and dollars of money to you in one or two projects. But if you want your company to run for hundreds and thousands of years, and that can come only by creating a systematic way of how to identify problems, how to develop a solution, how to be innovative in your thinking. And that type of system is going to make our country, India, proud in the global, thereby going to every nook and corners of the world in terms of developing our capabilities and also winning the business across. At the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, I will say that all these things we need to see that how do we win the business. At the end of the day, winning the business is the fundamental, because when you are winning the business and when you are competitive, you are generating money. And when you are generating money, your people, the per capita income or the average realization of the people is all going to go up. And this, we always believe that making money is not right. Making money in the right systematic way is what is key important. Make the money, create the wealth for your people, make sure that you give it back to the society, create a culture that people earn more money, your people become good, and they give it back to the society in terms of supporting the country to grow, so that every country will have an inclusive growth. And in that, we stand out as an India to make sure that such an inclusive growth brings Mother India, whatever we have been preaching to the global as a Vasudeva Kudumbam, will become the on top of the world. We make India a proud country by 2047, not just becoming a superpower in terms of the military base that what we have, or amount of currency what we have, or gold what we have, but the amount of talent, the amount of happiness, and the same time, the amount of innovative culture that we have in this country, that will make this country proud, and that will make the naturally India as a leader and superpower of the globe. Ladies and gentlemen, with that, challenges are many. Without challenges, none of us can grow. The more and more challenges that you have, it gives a great opportunity for exponential growth. In that particular process, the systematic innovation implementation in your company will turn around all the threats that you have, convert into opportunity, and get into the customer. The more closer to the customer, the more innovation you do, and you start respecting the people, and your people bring in the culture of respecting the people in the organization and make them to perform. Ladies and gentlemen, you are under world-class company. Let's make every of our company proud by becoming a company which always understands these cultures of ABC, of focusing on customer, focusing on innovation, and focusing on people. That will make our country proud, and let us make this country a superpower as per the vision, what Dr. Kalam said, or what our current Prime Minister is indicating that we should become, and make the globe, Vasudev Kudumbam, the best place to live in. Thank you very much, and Jai Hind.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Muthukumar. It's very inspiring. Thank you very much. I think really you brought out some great insights, just not just being a process, but being able to not only having innovators, but also being able to scale them up in an organization, in a country like India, to ensure that we're able to grow to the level of global standards. So thank you very much. I'm sure the standards that we are going to talk about next from Mr. Magnus will certainly help India as a country and various organizations to ensure that we are able to continuously innovate in our products and solutions that we cater to the world. Thank you very much, sir.
Appreciate Srikanth. Thank you.
Thank you.
So moving on, we have the next speaker for the day, Mr. Magnus Carlsen. Mr. Magnus Carlsen, he'll give a little bit more introduction. Let me just brief before he gets started. He has an extensive experience, has worked in various organizations, including his long association with Ericsson as a director of new business and development and innovation. Mr. Carlsen is an adjunct professor on innovation in management at the Royal Institute of Technology at Stockholm. He is involved with various institutes and standards as we speak with ISO, and also in committees in China and Japan. He is an innovation management expert and a partner at Amplify. I would like to invite Mr. Magnus Carlsen to share his perspectives on the role of leadership in driving innovation to scale with an innovation management system based on the new standards of ISO. Over to you, Mr. Carlson.
Thank you very much, Sri, for the kind introduction. And it is a pleasure to be here today to talk as a partner of Amplify and also representing the partnership between Innomantra and Amplify. The topic I will be talking about deals about innovation management systems and how we can use a systems approach to drive innovation to scale in any organization. And as a matter of fact, I will build on the excellent presentation by Dr. Muthukumar and the three pillars that he was mentioning: customer, innovation, and people. And they go very nicely together, and they are also being embodied in the innovation management system as a tool to drive innovation activities in any organization in a more systematic way. So that will be the topic of my remarks. Sri mentioned already about my background, partner at Amplify, adjunct professor at Royal Institute of Technology, where we are doing research on innovation management to better understand how companies and other organizations can benefit from a systematic approach to innovation management. I've also been part of the standardization work that I will comment a little bit more upon today. That has been done at European and also international levels for the last 15 years. So we do have a good understanding, and we have codified the knowledge from both research and practice into international guidance standards. That creates a great framework for us to move forward. And also my background at Ericsson that was mentioned. Let me start by outlining a few observations in the area of innovation management. The first one, and this is a common one, we've seen this in several studies over and over again, that innovation is really high on the agenda. And we also heard that from Dr. Muthukumar's remarks, that innovation is at the top in societies, but also in companies and organizations. We must innovate to deal with the challenges that we are facing. But at the same time, there is this dissatisfaction with innovation performance. There is this sense that we could do better if we are working more systematically by creating the conditions and removing barriers in our organizations. So we really need to overcome this dissatisfaction with the performance that so many organizations see. They have to do better in terms of innovating. Now, the second observation is that innovation efforts, when they do occur in companies and organizations, are actually short-lived and episodic, meaning that they come and go. And there are different reasons for that. And we've seen that maybe the average life expectancy of an innovation effort, an innovation lab, a program, and so on, is a few years. And that is typically not time to actually gain the full benefits and to get the return on that investment in terms of innovation performance that typically takes longer. Innovation efforts is a long-term game where you need to work systematically over time to build capabilities and to create value on the market. The next observation comes from a study that has been done a couple of years ago on companies spending a lot of money on R&D, the R&D spenders. As a matter of fact, this study looked at the 1,000 companies that are spending the most on R&D globally. And the key question was, is there a relationship between how much you spend on R&D and business performance? And it turns out, quite surprisingly, that looking through these 1,000 companies, there is no such relationship. There is no significant relationship between how much you spend on R&D and business performance. Now, in this study, they also asked a second question. what is it that companies are doing that outperform their peers? And they do two more things apart from spending money on R&D. They have an innovation strategy and they have built an internal innovation culture. So two fundamental pillars that are needed apart from spending a lot on R&D. So those companies fundamentally outperform their peers in this study. So what we can learn from this is that yes, you need to continue to spend on R&D, but you have also make sure that you have a clear direction and that you build the culture in the organizations. And that is very similar to what we just heard from Dr. Muthukumar talking about by directing your mind towards the needs that are important to deal with and solve in your organization. That is the innovation strategy. And also breed the culture internally so that you have all your people contributing to the innovation efforts and the movement forward of the organization. So strategy and culture are two key enablers factors for innovation to happen in an organization. A very important takeaway from this observation. My final observation is a conversation we had at Ericsson when I was talking to the board of directors a couple of years ago. They did their annual risk assessment, and the question on the table, what is our greatest risk at Ericsson? And there's always a list of risks that they're going through regularly at the board of directors. At this particular instance, the top risk was losing our innovation capability. If we're losing our innovation capability in a company like Ericsson, and this goes for many other companies out there, that would be the biggest risk. If we lose that momentum of producing new products, new services, new business models, and so on and so forth. So how can we know if we are at risk at losing our innovation capabilities? So that was the question that I brought with me into the standardization work to see, could we develop a globally recognized framework so that we could actually assess the innovation capability of an organization? So that's how I got involved into international standardization. And we do now, at this point in time, have a few key guiding frameworks that can help us to answer that question and deal with some of the issues that I just talked about, the observations within the field of innovation management. So we have several standards in the ISO 56000 series, but I'd like to point out two of them as more important than the others. ISO 56000 provides the innovation management fundamentals, including terms and definitions and the principles that I'm going to briefly mention in a moment. ISO 56002 describes the innovation management system, the management system we need to guide innovation efforts in an organization. And there's also a third document that we have produced in Sweden, the Swedish Institute for Standardization, called the Innovation Management Capabilities Assessment. And this is a handbook that can directly be used to understand the innovation capability in an organization. And you need to make that assessment in order to understand how you can improve. So this is just an example of three key documents that we can use going forward to boost innovation performance in any organization. Now, when we talk about standards and innovation, you typically get the question, how can you standardize innovation activities? It should be all free and so on. We cannot kind of constrain innovation activities by putting a standard in place. And that is actually not the case. When we talk about standard for innovation management, it's all about creating the best possible conditions for innovation to happen. And perhaps even more importantly, how can we remove the barriers that we have inside our organizations to be able to innovate better, to let free the creative powers, the imaginatory powers that we have inside our companies. So this is not at all putting constraints on activities, rather opening up in a systematic way so that innovation can happen freely and in a more powerful way in our companies and organizations. The interesting thing with international standardization that it's based on international collaboration. So we've actually come to agreement among a large group of important countries globally that has been contributed to this framework and codified this knowledge so that we are now in agreement and alignment beyond a specific organization or beyond a specific country, but actually globally on what are the key factors to make innovation happen in an organization. And India is gaining traction and being more and more part of this this effort. And we're really appreciating the growing participation of India in this international collaborative work. So what this does is that it creates a common language and a framework that we can use across a value chain, across countries, and so on. Many of our companies are international and multinational companies, and they span across borders, and now they have a common language and a framework to deal with all types of innovations and for defining what is it that people should do and know in order to make innovation happen across the value chain and also inside each of the collaborating organization. So it's an important contribution to actually create smoother collaboration also across organization to make innovation happen. It's all about increasing the likelihood for success. That's how you can use the standards. And you can also use them to build and demonstrate your innovation capability, answering the call from Ericsson. That was one of the observations that I outlined in the beginning. Let me continue by looking at some of the key parts of these standards. And one thing that we spent a lot of time on during the international standardization work was the definition of innovation. And as you might know, there are so many definitions out there. And how is it possible to agree on one common definition? And we actually arrived at a good definition, an inclusive definition that is also aligned with the work that OECD has done in terms of their Oslo manual, so that we have a good alignment with other major definitions of innovation that is out there. And the definition is very, very simple. Innovation is something new that realizes value. That's the essence. And it could be anything, and that is important. It's not only about a new technology or a new product. It's also about services, business model, new processes, new methods, new ways to lead organizations, and so on and so forth. So you can innovate in so many ways, and it is important to open up that spectrum of different kinds of innovations so that we are not limiting ourselves, for example, just to incrementally improve the products we are producing. So innovation can go basically for anything. Anything that is new and that realizes value, we can call an innovation. So very inclusive and broad definition. Building on this, value creation is at the center. Value is what we want to achieve from innovation for the stakeholders, for ourselves, for our customers, and for the users, and so on and so forth. So value is kind of the guiding light throughout the innovation management discipline and the innovation management system. And I'm just going to very, very quickly show the 8 innovation management principles that are so important for the innovation management system. And actually, throughout this series of webinars, we're going to touch upon these innovation management principles and highlight them in different ways during the course of these interactions. Today we're going to focus on the last one, the systems approach, so I will continue to talk a little bit about that in a moment. But you can see here that they're all interrelated and they're all essential for innovation to happen in an organization. And the first one is actually realization of value, a focus on value. And that comes from the very definition of innovation that I just talked about. So it's not only about generating ideas and being creative and so on. It's about making sure that those ideas reach all the way to the market and create a difference, create value. The second one is about leadership, tightly connected to the fourth one, which is about culture. Leaders drive the culture in an organization. And we've heard that from Dr. Muthukumar. We heard it from the observation and the study we talked about before. Leadership, strategy, and culture combined are actually key enablers for innovation to happen in organizations. So we need to bring all of those three with us into our innovation management system. The next point is about exploiting insights. And again, we heard that from the previous speaker, that a focus on customer, a focus on users, and understanding the needs. That is about developing deep insight on what are the things that are worth innovating around. That is how you start, by exploiting insight. And as a matter of fact, we would dig deeper into that particular principle in the next webinar, and we're coming back to that because that one is so important. Managing uncertainty is really the essence of the entire discipline. If we're innovating, we're creating something new, so we have to learn to deal with a high level of uncertainty. We need to deal with risks. We might fail in our innovation attempts, and we need to make sure that we can handle that as part of our innovation management system. Adaptability is key because we need to change the way we work in our organization, the way we are structured, the processes, the competencies, and so on, in order to move forward and bring new innovations to the market. For example, business model innovation would require that we change things in our existing organization to make it happen on the market. So taken together, these innovation management principles can be seen as success factors for innovation in an organization. Let me focus on the last one, the systems approach. Why do we need that? Why is that an important success factor for innovation management? Well, what we see out there very often today when we look in organizations is that there are different kinds of efforts, different kinds of methods and tools and so on that are brought together. And you might recognize some of the tools that showing on this slide. We have the Lean Startup, Design Thinking, hackathons, innovation labs, open innovation, and so on and so forth. And these are all powerful methods and tools that has helped to evolve the innovation management discipline. However, they are also scattered and fragmented. So if you just pick up and do one of them, you're not getting the full picture. What is missing is actually putting it all together so that it makes sense as a system, so that you know how all these factors fit together. So that is the key that has been done, and the experiences that has been codified into the guidance standards of the innovation management system. So this is a kind of a high level visual of an innovation management system as described in ISO 56002. And this is only at the very highest level. So these are the headings of the different sections that describes the key elements that needs to be in place for the system to work as a whole. And let's start to talk a little bit about the different components by looking at the part in the middle. It says operations, and behind that are actually the innovation processes. That's how we come from an intent to innovate to actually value creation at the end. So there is a flow from left to right in the center of the innovation management system. And this is actually the key to the entire innovation management system. The process from the intention to innovate until value is created on the market for the users, for society, and so on, is at the core of the system. And the guidance standard describes 5 essential innovation processes, or functions that your innovation processes must perform to be able to do this journey from intent to value as effective as possible. This doesn't mean that you need to have exactly these 5 elements in your process, but you need to look at your innovation processes to understand, do we have these 5 functions or these 5 sub-processes in place? If not, we might be missing out. We might sub-optimize the journey from intent to value. So let me just mention very quickly. The first one is about identifying opportunities, and Dr. Muthukumar talked very eloquently about understanding the need, understanding what is the problem to be solved, what are the challenges we are facing, and so on. Developing deep and unique insights into the needs, that is the starting point or a key component on this journey. The second one is about creating concepts. That's where you ideate, you generate ideas, cluster them to concepts and so on that are addressing the need, the challenge, the opportunity that you have identified. Validate concepts is about experimentation, testing the concepts if they fulfill the needs or not, and maybe also changing the concepts before we move into the stage of developing solutions and deploying solutions, which are typically more costly. So you would want to eliminate the uncertainty of your concept as much as possible, as early as possible in these processes. So these are the 5 generic innovation processes and components that you should look for in your own innovation process. And actually, it is a learning journey from intent to value, whether you are formulating an hypothesis, you're experimenting, you're validating, you're learning new knowledge, new insights, and then you adjust your idea, your concept, and you're testing another hypothesis. So on that learning journey, you are reducing uncertainty and you're creating new value gradually as you're moving forward. So this is the essence of the innovation management system. Everything else in the system is designed to support these processes to work as efficient and effectively as possible. So let me just go through them very quickly, one by one. The first one is context. That's where you scan your environment for trends, maybe technology trends, where the market going, what are the customer needs, what are the user needs. But also you need to look internally to see what kind of culture do I have in my organization and so on. These are all the inputs that matters when you move to look at the second part, which is leadership. That includes, very importantly, top management commitment. You need to have top management on board. They need to stand behind, for example, your innovation strategy so that you can provide that important direction to your innovation initiatives. So this section outlines the different things that top management need to do in order to make innovation happen in the organization. And apart from the strategy, it also includes people, the culture. They must be role models and show the way in the organization. And finally, top management must be accountable for the innovation management system and make sure that it achieves its intended outcomes. Planning is the section behind the strategy where we're moving down to the actual work in the innovation processes. Here's where you plan to take action. You provide lower level objectives. You set up your innovation portfolios, and you might structure your organization so that you can drive innovation effectively. Looking below the circle, we will find support, and that is mainly about allocating resources. Resources are key for innovation to happen, and it's about people, money, time, infrastructures, tools and methods, and so on and so forth. And that must be connected to the innovation strategy so that you have a realistic chance of actually driving innovation according to your strategy with your allocated resources. And then just moving to the 2 last ones, here's where you take a step back and look at your entire innovation management system and evaluate how it is performing. and you have your metrics, your key performance indicators, and so on to help you to understand how is your innovation management system performing. And based on that knowledge, you improve the system so you gradually make sure that you can produce innovations in a better way, more effective way, over and over again. And remember, the guidance standard for innovation management system will help you to create the best possible conditions, but also remove the barriers inside your organization for innovation to happen. So that is what this system is doing for your organization. One interesting thing here is that the innovation management system is based on a common structure that it shares with other management systems. So if you have quality management or environmental management already in your organization, and if you're basing that on ISO 9001, ISO 14001, and so on, innovation management plugs right in. It has the same structure. So ISO 56002 fits perfectly into that integrated management system. And in the future, as you can see on this slide, ISO 56001 will become this certifiable management system standard for innovation that also will fit together with those other certifiable management systems of quality, environment, and so on and so forth. ISO 56001 will most likely be published next year. That is something that ISO is working on right now. So just to sum up, if we look at an organization or a company, they need to work on two types of dynamics. The first dynamic is the bottom dynamic. That is the system for managing operations. That is what's happening in organization daily, delivering to customers with quality and so on. But that is not enough in the longer run. Every organization also needs the second level, the system for managing innovations. That is where the organization can renew itself, innovate, and so on, so that we don't get stuck in today's practice, but that we also can implement next practice over and over again. And that is in this system, the top level of this double-decker bus, where an innovation management system can help us to get organized with a mission-critical task to drive innovation in our organizations. And as a matter of fact, this is an emerging profession. We see that individuals that have skills in this area to actually drive, promote, coach, and facilitate innovation activities in an organization is an emerging profession. We can call them innovation management professionals. And that profession is kind of coming into being in the same way as previous professions. And here are just two examples: project management professionals and quality management professionals. We see that both of those disciplines have reached a certain level of maturity. We know what it is. They are common in our organizations and so on. But we still see that innovation management is evolving as a profession in our organizations. So what we want to do is to drive that professionalization forward so that we can have individuals that can be forerunners in an organization to actually build a sustained innovation capability. So what is it that these people need and the people around them? Well, we put that together in a program that we call Systematic Innovation Management. And we're not going into the details here, but I just want to show you the different knowledge elements that are so important for organizations now to understand and to build deeper understanding throughout their organization on. If you just look at, well, the first content module number 2 is about systematic innovation management. And the following ones deals with the definition of innovation to get to that common language, the principles and the system. And from module number 6 and onwards, there are different perspectives on the innovation management systems that are brought to light during the program, with a focus on the processes, on insights, on top management, strategies, and also number 10 on the adaptability of organizations. 11 and 12 deals with leadership, future focused leaders. We mentioned that as one of the principles, and then into culture. And finally, how do we measure and follow up? So these are the main knowledge building blocks that any organization must manage, must master at different levels in their organization. I mentioned that we're doing research in this area as well to understand what are the good practices that we see out there. And actually, just very recently, we did publish the first book that fully captures the initial knowledge from organization that has adapted a systematic way of dealing with innovation management, and that are using, at least some of them are using explicitly, the ISO standards that we have talked about. The book is called Changing the Dynamics and Impact of Innovation Management, published by World Scientific and ISPIM jointly. And you can see there's a list of case studies that explains how these companies, that are actually from all over the world, have started to think and use a systems approach to innovation management. So by that, I'd like to conclude and really get back to the initial point here. Systematic is the mantra to amplify innovation performance in any organizations. And I'm looking forward to continue the conversation here today, and also to the coming webinars where we have the opportunity to dig deeper into that. So by that, I'd like to go back to you again. Sri, please go ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Magnus, for providing a very interesting perspective. Thank you for introducing us to the 8 principles, and I think you were able to bring sanity to the chaos that we always experience. We all talk about design thinking, we talk about small canvas, we talk about various aspects. The important aspect of being able to measure them, and I think I'm looking forward to the capability assessment to see how we can use that as a tool and to rate ourselves where we are and how we're able to move up to ensure that we're able to provide innovative strategy, culture, and process within the organization. So, thank you very much. We're looking forward to your next topic on managing uncertainty space as the another principle of innovation. Thank you. We are open for any question that anybody might have at this point of time. Lokesh, are there any questions on the chat or anyone else?
Right now, I don't see any questions. I think is anyone wants to share? Dhananjay ji? Yeah, please. Brian?
Yeah, I have a general question. I believe really strongly in the things you're presenting today around the needs for a systems-based approach. I believe that it's a smart way to move forward. But I'm also a business person, and I believe there has to be validity in what we're doing. And I'm guessing in this group, you might know of some studies that exist which link the use of innovation systems to actual in-market results. And if you do have those, could you share the links, or could you tell me where I could find them?
Thank you, Brian, and hello. Good to see you.
It's good to see you again.
Yes. Sri, do you want me to comment?
Yes, please go ahead. Yes, please go ahead.
Yes. Actually, 2 things. First, the book that I just shared the cover of is the first, let's say, comprehensive grouping together of case studies that we can start to learn from, where we actually look at the entire systems approach. So that is something that we have been working on, and we will continue to do that because it's so important to do exactly what you said to provide the validity to this. Having said that, the different parts of the ISO standard, if you will, does not come out of the blue. It is based on 20 plus years of research, and some of these researchers have been part in writing the standards. And it's also come from practice, quite extensive practice. And we've also have those people on board and sharing that practice. So it's really codifying what we know as of today, what really works to drive innovation in an organization. The new thing is that we put it together. There are studies about the importance of culture, for example. There are many studies about that. And there are studies about strategy, process, and so on and so forth. So all the components we have separate studies on that are now brought together. But having said that, yes, we are on the quest for providing more validity, more case studies when looking at the innovation management system as a whole. So that is a very worthy endeavor, and it's going on right now. And we're happy to share more about kind of the projects that we are involved in and the research we are involved in to do that. So very important. Thank you for bringing that up, Ryan.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Okay, I have one question, Magnus. When we bring these new initiatives, actually, like this all, the budget is planned from like the discretionary budget, right? So the 1 or 2 years, as you rightly said, few initiatives will happen, few pockets of activities will happen. The biggest challenge is to have that continuation, right? So how a leadership need to plan the budget for driving innovation? Because most of the time we try to measure innovation too early and then get disappointed, right? How to really exactly the leadership need to really, because today the leadership the span also is very very short in most of the organization. Hardly, like even CEO being in the company itself is a question mark for 3 to 4 years actually, right? So what really need to really what may should make him to really motivate to take up a long-term goal actually? So I think if you're able to throw some light on this, it'll be great.
Thank you, Lokesh. Also a great question. And we do see many organizations that are starting bottom up to drive innovation. And there are, I mean, all organizations, they have creative individuals, they want to contribute. And innovation is happening all over. I mean, there's most organizations have great creative people involved and they are doing great things bottom up. But we also see that at a certain point, there's a limit where they cannot go any further because they do need also a top-down approach where top management is actually sanctioning this, making sure that they have the resources that we talked about, the time, money, the people, the competence, and so on, in order to grow and really to make an impact of innovation in the longer term. So we need to find that combination of bottom-up individuals that are empowered, passionate, and so on, with a sense of urgency also at top management so that they can create the conditions and also steer and direct. We talked a little bit about this idea of strategic direction, how important that is, so that people are engaging their creativity to the really important problems and challenges that we like to address in our organizations. So there are several ways how we can engage with top management by doing that. Making sure that we connect innovation to a sense of urgency that is felt by top management. Typically, they have a number of things that they think about they need to get fixed in their organization. And we should innovate around those key urgent topics. So a sense of urgency, bringing a sense of urgency to top management is one thing. Another one is upskilling or making sure that top management also had a good understanding of what are the conditions for innovation to happen. It's not just like magic. There are things they can do in top management to actually pave the way for innovation so that they know what is that and the measures they can take. Yet another one is around metrics. And you talked about how do we measure and follow up. If we only have those short-term metrics, we will very quickly say, okay, we have invested, we didn't get any results, we'll shut it down. So we need also to design smart metrics so that we can build a sustained capability over time. And finally, we need to involve top management in innovation activities. They like that, but they need to be, they have busy schedules, but they could be part, now and then into the innovation effort so that they see what are the needs that we are uncovering, what are the insights we are working on. So in the words of Dr. Muthukumar, the why, the know-how, and the what, they should get the feeling for what is that, so that they also get involved. These are just a few ways to engage further and deeper with top management. Having said that, is not an easy task, because top management is they have so many other things on their plate. But this is the way to get also the top-down approach meet the bottom-up approach. Does that make sense, Lokesh? I
Yeah,
mean,
perfect,
please
perfect.
share
I
also
think,
your own experience in this area.
and the perfect. The thing is, what my thoughts is like the how this behavior in a professionally run CEO company and founder-led companies. Do you find any difference?
Good question. Gunnar, feel free also to jump in. We do see some differences, but not in a conclusive way. Please share, Lokesh, if you see any differences, and we may want to untangle that question.
Perfect.
Just adding to Magnus what you said, in our experience working with private and public companies, family-owned companies, and our general experience is that in a privately owned family company, you're much more long term in your thinking and investing in innovation initiatives, for the simple reason that you can ignore the market and do what you like to do and believe in, and no one is going to punish you. So there is actually the markets we're trading on has a limiting factor when it comes to our innovation efforts. You might argue that they supply us with the financial resources needed, but at the same time, they punish us if we use those resources in the way that they don't for this specific moment like. And in that specific moment, they are mainly short term in their thinking and expectations.
And sometimes the founder is also the original innovator, which could play out in a good way because they know about innovation and they appreciate innovation. But at the same time, it might hinder new types of innovations because the original innovator might put constraints on that. So goes both ways, I think.
Another aspect I just want to emphasize, building on what you talked about, Magnus, how do you get management to actually understand what is required to drive innovation long term, and we have today we don't have a leadership in most organizations that are educated and have the experience to drive long term initiatives. They're used to setting annual budgets. Their CXO term is maybe 2 to 5 years maximum. So there is a really dangerous lack of competence and experience, and that's our mission. That's part of our mission to build a new generation of leaders with the right competence. Now it's happening. In universities, you can now have a degree in innovation management. There are more initiatives out there, and you can learn from those. There are good, strong education programs that you can take. So you can actually acquire that knowledge, but you need the willingness. You need to understand that there is a lack of knowledge and understanding, and that's where you should begin as a leader.
Fantastic.
Also have a question, if it's okay.
Yeah, please go ahead.
A question for you, Dr. Muthukumar. You talked about innovation excellence across the value chain. We have companies that are working in large value chain. Very often they are international global value chains. What can we do to support innovation to work smoothly across those value chains? And how can the thinking of innovation management system and a common language and framework help in doing that? I think that's an interesting point. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
If you don't take the innovation across your supply chain, again, your end customer will not get the maximum benefit. He will get a benefit, only an incremental benefit, and not an exponential benefit. Imagine an automobile manufacturing company. You have a supply chain as your suppliers, you and your dealer and all. If the customer is not going to see the benefits, whether he is sitting at a dealer shop, when he is sitting at a dealer shop in some tier 2 or tier 3 cities, if the dealer is not going to treat the customer in a proper way, it reflects on the company's image and the credibility. So, innovations, as I said, cannot be a packets of excellence. But like what you said, it's very, very interesting to see that in a listed company, we want the profitability in the second quarter or third quarter, and within a short span of time, we want to get this. Unless you change the mindset in the leadership that innovation is not for profit, but innovation is for a cultural shift to make your organization sustainable in the long term, it is not going to help. The same thing for your question. The entire extended supply chain should get into this culture so that the customers will get benefit exponentially and you will sustain for a long term in the market. Otherwise, you will be able to reduce the price by 5% by doing some innovation in your raw material procurement or in the manufacturing process. But it will take very short time for your competition to copy this innovation, and they will be in the pipeline in another 6 months to 9 months. But if you have an innovation culture in your organization, every 6 months, every 1 year, your people will continuously excel and they will keep on changing the goalpost to the competition, and the competition will never be able to come through that. I think that's the gist which people need to, the leadership team need to understand, that if you want to have a sustainable future for your organization, don't work on profit for a quarter, but you should work for a cultural shift in your organization.
Awesome.
Thank you very much. Thank
That's
you.
beautiful. Yeah.
Dr. Kamal, I have a
Question.
follow-up question regarding the structure of your value chain. For radical innovation to happen, and maybe even disruptive innovation, do you need to vertically integrate your value chain, being the orchestrator or even owning every step of it, or?
I think that's a very interesting question. It depends on the different business. Integrating the supply chain and making it a big, longer one will take that much of time to make you to turn the snake and get into this. You should always have a supply chain in various functions, but which should be easily able to interact. For example, the design team should focus on continuing to see what they can innovate, but they should also have an internal customer concept saying that the manufacturability of that innovation, the supply chain of that innovation is also, they should keep that in mind when they are making an innovation. You can make an excellent innovation, but if it is not going to be manufacturable friendly, or if it is not going to be sourcing friendly, your innovation will get killed and you will feel at the end of the day, you will have a frustration in your organization. The leadership challenge is to make sure that how people think, like what our Prime Minister says, you have to think global, but act locally. I think the innovation culture in the supply chain should be like that. You should think about the global of all the total value chain to the customer, whether the customer is going to get benefited out of it. But you have to act locally so that you work faster. Your lead time for implementing such changes should be minimal. I think this is the challenge, and absolutely, and that's the leadership about. There are inspiring leaders. Today, no more leaders who give the direction to the team doesn't work. How you are influencing your team and influencer leadership on innovation is what is going to be a sustainable, and absolutely not directive leadership is no more going to work in the organization.
Right.
Fantastic.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that answer, and we're actually going to get into the topic of insights next in the next webinar. Insights about user needs, spoken or unspoken, are I mean, those are the goals of your innovation efforts. But what you mentioned is equally important, that you need insights about yourself. You need insights about your capabilities, the abilities in your value chain, and those all of that goes together. A synthesis of all those insights is going to make you successful, not only from one perspective, it's multiple perspectives. Yeah, very important point.
I have a little, I have lived,
One question.
when people talk about the capability of the people, I have a little difference on this. If a leadership wants to make everybody capable and you have a highly capable people, it'll also be very difficult to manage the team at that point of time because you will not be able to go on feeding them to their requirement needs. We call this as a de-skilling of the process in the manufacturing. Anybody who gets into the plant should be able to produce the product which can't make defects in the line or can't make incident in the line. Safety, quality, delivery, everything should be done. So innovations is also your structured process. What he explained now, it should make your average person to perform extraordinarily well. I think that is the shift that we should bring it. The innovation can be turning into culture only when people believe that I am not an excellent guy. I'm not a great knowledgeable guy. I'm an average guy, but I'm able to produce such innovation. I think that's the success of leaders like you. It great minds always think better, and they will be able to provide packets of excellence. But create a culture, create a process that an average person performs extraordinarily well. I think that is what is going to be the challenge for people like you who create the processes and takes it to the organization.
Awesome. I think there was one question from Dhananjaya.
Yeah, am I audible now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I missed some part of the webinar. I had to take office call. Maybe this might have been discussed. But my question is, in the innovation company, right? Today, typically we have KPIs for success, right? So anything is a failure is reprimanded. So when you talk about the innovative culture, so what kind of KPI shift is required in the companies to promote innovation?
I can just tell directly from my experience. Okay, way back in 2010, 2011, when we started this innovation journey, maybe we said we didn't call this an innovation, but we said a continuous improvement, exponential performance is all what we talked about. Our success rate on ideas converting into implementation was just 32% in the year 2014. If I had to reprimand people, I should have sent 68% of the people go home. No, we started moving towards the year. But today in 2022, we see our success rate is around 72% of concept to customer, we call. When you create a concept by innovating team, we go to 72%. If you again ask me, hey, should we reprimand the 28 people? I think that is where the leadership is there. You should support the people who failed. Understand what lacuna in the process. It's not the people. Don't blame the people. Look at your process, which made him to not get the right information at time for him to be successful. I think if the innovation process is able to bring it, I'm sure that some days will come to 100. I don't know whether that someday is going to be 2030, 2040, 2050, or 2100. But I'm confident that it is a question of when we are going to achieve, not whether we are going to achieve. Prior to 2010, oh, whether this innovation happens is a question. But today, when this innovation going to happen is a question. That's the mindset change. It's the leadership responsibility of not reprimanding people, but identifying which step in the process people missed it and make a poka-yoke for that. That's it.
I think the learning from the failure is important to capture.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Learning from failure is a very, very important thing. If you brush aside failures, you are not an organization which is going to improve. Leadership should spend more time not with the successful people, but with the people who could not able, the process which could not be able to produce results, so that he will be able to motivate the team and take it to the next level.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
We are going to cover monitoring, measuring, including the metrics and KPIs in a forthcoming webinar. So that's part of the systems approach. Magnus mentioned it, the improvement, evaluation and improvement. Just briefly, Of course, you need a different set of KPIs. You need a different type of scorecard for innovation. You need to measure more of what you input, the throughput parameters, than only the output. With regards to innovation, you need to understand if you're on the right way, not only measuring when it's done. And that will also promote understanding and learning from your failures. But more about that in a later session.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I need to drop the call and
Yep.
I have to join in another call. Thank you very much for the
Thank you.
opportunity.
Thank you
I
very much.
enjoyed listening to every one of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank
Dr. Murthy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Nice to
Bye-bye.
meet you.
Thank you. So thank you everyone for taking time today. I think it's a very interesting and engaging discussion. I would just like to share a final slide as we go forward in the series, the webinar series. We have these discussions happening every second Wednesday of the month. So the next topic is scheduled is on the principles in exploiting insights and managing uncertainty. It's one of the 8 innovation management principles. So the next webinar is scheduled for 10th of May. You will get information regarding the webinar. So thank you very much. It was very nice to listen to all of you and learn a lot of things today. So looking forward to the next discussion in the series. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Nice to
Thank you.
meet you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Have a nice evening.
Thank you.